Hey, this is 春天啊. Today we are going to continue our live stream about Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin, he is a statesman, a businessman, journalist, so on and so forth. And he, in his age of 26, he buy the newspaper. The newspaper's name is Philadelphia. And he after he bought this newspaper, the newspaper soon become influential in America. Last time I gave the introduction about Benjamin Franklin's life story, and Ben flies a kite. And today I'm going to continue to, just now I review part of last session's content. And in today's session, I'm going to continue. And in today's session, we are going to go over the education of Benjamin Franklin and how Benjamin Franklin became one of historical most influential leader, and the history and the development of library, how libraries preserved knowledge for thousands of years, and the English vocabulary, reading practice, and discussion. Now, let's start. And just now I gave you a few go over about Benjamin's life, and he's a politician, and also he, in his 40s, he studied the field of electricity. And in the age of 48, he became a member of Royal Society. And in his 71 years old, he was sent to French. And he won the support from French to support the war of independence in America. And also, he's one of the person to sign the Declaration of Independence. So he's very famous. He's a famous scientist too. And the story, Ben flies a kite. I also explained to you why we use present tense rather than past tense. It makes the title more vivid. And last time we go over the education of Benjamin. And we only go with 2 paragraphs. And today we are going to continue. And some people just join. If you miss the first session, Ben flies a kite with his son, William. You can go through the Benjamin Franklin live too, to see what we talk about for Ben fly together with William, his son, fly the kite, and how the conductor works, and is he was shocked by the electricity. And today Let's continue to the next one, which is the education of Benjamin Franklin. Go by yourself to see what is live to talk about. Okay, now let's start. Uh, First of all, before we start, I'm going to share with you the color of my book. It's a yellow cover. It's a book I studied long time ago. And compare with the book I wrote, the book I wrote is a new book. Okay, so this is a white color, and the old book is a yellow color. It's a very good article. In this article, you will learn a lot, especially for the AI age. My voice is not too good. Forgive me. Um, my sounds is not too clear. uh, it's a little sick. Let me see. Marisol. Marisol. Hey, Marisol. Nice to see you. Welcome to join my live stream session. Today we are talking about Benjamin. And welcome to join. And comment in the chat. Which country are you watching from? And the time, what is the time right now? Right now, I travel from US to China to visit my parents. Now I sit in a room where long time ago I lived. And I found out my book I started long time ago, and I share with you. Come in the chat, where are you watching from? And even we are not in a country, probably now located in the same place. However, right now the earth becomes smaller because the AI, the information age. We are in a small globe, small little earth. Chat each other. Okay, let's continue the education of Benjamin Franklin. Uh, just now I have already go over the the content I did last time. Benjamin is very famous. We have already talked about Ben flies a kite with his son William, and the conductor. They find out and how the is also talk about Benjamin was shocked by the electricity, and they went out in a dark and stormy day, and Ben hold the kite, and William, his son, ran as quickly as, and Ben go, and then the kite fly in the air, and so on and so forth. Something happened. That is very exciting story. Even Ben was shocked, but why? Check the previous video and see. Now we talk about Ben's education. Ready? Okay, let's move on. Give me 1 second. I'm so happy we are together. I'm so happy we are together. Talk about the Benjamin Franklin. That's really amazing experience. And I got inspired last time. And also, I believe you get inspiration today. Nowadays is how are you relaxed after long day? How are you relaxed after long day? Okay. Um, I right now I am relaxing because I before I go with this one, I got lots of inspiration. I got a passion. I got a passion. And do you remember I told you Ben released the kite and shouted go? That's a previous story I talk, and today is another one. Is Benjamin how he work on the library, and it's very exciting story too. Eh? It's an exciting story too. Let's continue. Give me 1 second. Now let's continue about Benjamin's education. Okay, so last time we go over the first two, and today we are going to review what we did last time. And last time we only go, the Ben flies a kite with his son William together. That one is the last time. Today, Ben's education of Benjamin Franklin. Education of Benjamin Franklin. So this one, last time we go over 2 paragraphs. Today we're going to review last time the 2 paragraphs and continue the remaining. Okay. Ben's education at the school came to an end when he was 10 years old. But he never stopped learning. For him, book held the key to living a happy and successful life. They were precious gift. Here, I want to emphasize one sentence. Book held the key to live a happy and a successful life. You can write it down. You can write down this sentence. Book held the key. Book held the key to living a happy and a successful life. Book book held the key to living a healthy to live a happy and successful life. Right now we are living successful life, and go together with me to see why, to see if you get inspiration or not. And are you going to bring the value home? Are you going to be bring some wisdom home? Are you going to be a little smart from now after this session? And I continue. They were precious gift. In his early youth, he had a friend who worked for a bookseller. Sometimes this friend would lend him a book, which he was careful to return quickly. Often, he sat up in his room reading most of the night in order to return a book before his friend's employer noticed it was missing. So he had no money to buy the book. And in his early age, he has a friend who worked for a bookseller, and his friend lent the book to Ben, and Ben read in the night, and read it as quick as possible and return the book before his friend employer notice the book is missing. So although he ended his school life when he was 10 years old, however, he still continued read the book when he was a little boy. But Franklin was not a lonely scholar. For him, learning was a social experience. In his autobiography, he tells about organizing a club called the Junto. From Latin word means to join, which met every Friday night to improve the mind of the members. The rule I made requires every member in return to produce one or more questions on any point of moral, politics, and natural philosophy. The question would then be discussed by the whole group. Also, once in 3 months, each member was required to read an article he had written on any subject he pleased. Here, I'm going to give you pop quiz. Give you pop quiz. What the question? What the question would be produced by the member? Let's give you the question in another way. What kind of a question was discussed at the club he organized? What's a question? So here I ask you this question because I'm going to give you question. I will give you question after I finish reading this article. I would like to give you five or six questions altogether now, but I will give you later. Give you too much, you will forget. But it's nice to give to you so you can listen with a question. Either way is fine. Now I only gave you one question, but later on I'm going to ask you more question. Okay. So the question is, what kind of question were discussed at the club or the club he organized? Our discussion was directed by President and conducted as an honest search for truth. We were to avoid unpleasant argument or a desire for victory. Any member who did not obey those rules had to pay a fine. The junto continued for many years. It was the best group for the discussion for philosophy, morality, and politics that existed in that part of the country. The questions were given to the member during the week before they were to be discussed. This encouraged everyone to read up on each subject so that they might speak with more understanding. They learned to become better conversational too, since the rule forbade disagreeable, disagreeable argument. Okay, so now the when people discuss a question, sometimes they make the argument. They make the argument. People want to win the other side. A lot of time is going to create the trouble. And it was the best group for the discussion of philosophy, morality, politics, and that exists in that past of the country. Oh, so normally the question will give in advance. And this encourage everyone to read up on each subject so that they might speak with more understanding, because the subject was given in advance, so everybody can prepare the answer for the discussion, to prepare the idea or opinion for the discussion, because the topic will given out in advance. They learn to become better, and they learn to become better conversationalist, since the rule forbidden disagreeable argument. So by this way, they learned to become better conversationalist. Okay. Before the middle, so here, I'm not sure you understand or not. People, when they make argument, if they are not conversationalists, they might want to win. They want to win the other side, and argument will happen. So when people discuss the questions, they need to learn to become better conversationalists too. And the rule forbade disagreeable argument. Okay, I think right now you understand. Before the middle of 18th century, there were no public library. There was not even a good bookstore south of Boston. In New York and Philadelphia, the printer sold only a few ordinary school books. People who love to read, who obligate to send to England for their book. Franklin decided to improve this situation. Each member of Junto owed a few books. A room had been rented for the club's meeting. Franklin suggested that all the members should bring their book to that room. In this way, the book should be a help to all during the weekly discussion. Also, each member would be allowed to borrow and read at home any book he chose. This arrangement was so satisfactory that Benjamin soon decided that something similar should be done for other people in the city. His autobiography tells how he put this idea into action. Here, let's come back for this paragraph. Before mid of 18th century, there was no public library. There's not even a good bookstore in South Boston. And in New York, Philadelphia, printers sold only a few ordinary school notebook, and bookstore is not many too. And the people who love to read was obligated to send to England for their book. However, Benjamin Franklin found the way. So in his junto, each member of junto owned a few books. A room has been rented for the club meeting. Franklin suggested all the members should bring their books. Everybody bring the book to that room. In this way, the book would be a help to all during the weekly discussion. Also, each member would be allowed to borrow and read at home any book he chose. Any book he chose. So everybody have a few book and bring to this group. And they rent a room for a room has been rented for the club meeting. And everybody bring a few book. In this book, the book was gathered together. And this arrangement was so satisfactory that Franklin soon decided that something similar should be done because the result is satisfactory. The result is satisfactory. And Benjamin's autobiography tells how he put this idea. The reason he put this idea because they rent out the room for the club member. They rent out the room for the club member meeting. And everybody bring a few book, and everybody can read any book. They are allowed to read the book and allowed to borrow any book from the small library because everybody bring the book and to show the other people. And once you join this group, and everybody can read the book and can read the book on the weekly discussion, and also they can borrow the book. And this idea is very satisfactory. And in Ben's autobiography, and in this book tells Benjamin Franklin tells how he put his idea into action, how he tell his idea into the action. Reading the benefit of Jiangzhou's little collection, realizing the benefit of the Jiangzhou little collection, I suggested starting a public library. Realize the benefit of Jiangzhou little collection. I suggested start a public library. I made the necessary plan and the rules and had a lawyer put them in proper written form. Each man who signed the agreement promised to pay 40 shilling immediately to purchase the first books and 10 shillings each year to buy more books. So you need to pay 10 shillings. There were not many readers in Philadelphia at that time. Most of us were very poor. Though I tried hard, I was able to got only 50% to sign for the library. They were mostly young tradesmen. Not many people at the very beginning. Not many people at the very beginning. However, Benjamin realized the benefit of the Jiangzhou's little collection, and he suggested sharing a public library. And he made the plan and had a lawyer to create the form. Each man who signed the agreement promised to pay not 10 shilling, is 40 shilling immediately to purchase the first book and 10 shilling each year to buy more book. And there were not many readers in Philadelphia. However, Benjamin tried hard. He was able to got 50% to sign for the library. They were most young tradesmen. That's very big action he took. We began with a small amount of money, and the book were ordered from England. The library was open one day a week for lending. Anyone who took a book signed a promise to pay double the value if he had not returned. Let's go back. At the very beginning, they don't have lots of money. The book was ordered from England. The library opened one day a week. At the very beginning, not many people, not only there's not many people, but also there's not big amount of money. The book was ordered from England. The library was open one day a week. Anyone who took a book signed signed a promise to pay double the value if he did not return. That is a good rule. If somebody lost the book, they need to pay double value of the book. And they had the lawyer to sign the document, sign the form. and they need to return on time. If anybody lose the documentation, they need to pay back double value of the book. The library soon showed its usefulness and was copied by other towns. The library grew and reading became a fashion. In a few years, strangers observed that our people were better educated and had more knowledge than people of the same economic circumstance in other countries. So after the library I think is in Philadelphia, okay, in Philadelphia. And a stranger found out the people in this city had better education, was better educated, were better educated, and had more knowledge than the people of the same economic circumstance. Even the similar city, but they in Philadelphia they have the library, and soon the people noticed that the people in Philadelphia were more educatable, educated than more knowledge, more and had more knowledge than people of the same economic circumstance in other countries. And because it was very successful, and the library was showed its usefulness. The library was showed the usefulness and was copied by other towns. And the stranger found out it's very successful, and it was copied. And the library was copied by other towns. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Now I'm going to ask you the question. How did Benjamin Franklin manage to got how did Benjamin Franklin manage to get book to read in his early youth? How did Benjamin Franklin manage to get a book to read in his early youth? Do you know that? So let's go to the second paragraph. In his early youth, he had a friend who worked for a bookseller. And Ben borrowed the book, and his friend lent the book to Benjamin Franklin. And Franklin read it as quickly as possible. And often he sat up in a room reading. Sat up in a room reading. Most of the night sat up in a room reading. Most of the night he read. In order to return the book before his friend employer noticed the book was missing. Now the question number 2. Now the question number 2. What was meant by Franklin was not a lonely scholar? What is meant by Franklin was not a lonely scholar. Franklin, let's both go back to the book. I see people right now watching, enjoying. The question we have already go over. What is meant by Franklin was not a lonely scholar? Franklin was not a lonely scholar. The reason is for him, learning was a social experience. In his autobiography, he tells about organizing he tells about organizing a club called Junto, from Latin word means to join, which met every Friday night to improve the mind of the members. So, the question again. I see you are here. The question again. What is meant? Franklin was not a lonely scholar. Learning was a social experience. Learning was a social experience. Benjamin Franklin, in his autobiography, he tells about organizing organizing a club called Junto. From Latin word is to join, which met every Friday night to improve the mind of member. The question number 3. What kind of questions were discussed at the club he organized? What kind of questions? What kind of questions were discussed? What kind of questions were discussed at a club he organized? What kind of questions were discussed? What kind of questions was discussed at a club he organized? Let's go to the article. To produce more questions on any point of, okay, the rule, here's the answer. The rule I made required every evening in return to produce one or more questions for any point of moral, politics, and natural philosophy. The question was then discussed by the whole group. Also, once in 3 months, the member was required to read an article he had written on any subject he pleased. So, what is the question they discussed? Because the rule required every member to need to produce the question. The question will be used to discuss in Junto, in the club. The point normally is about moral, politics, natural philosophy. This is discussed by the whole group, and every 3 months, each member was required to read an article he had written on any subject he pleased. Pop quiz back and a pop quiz. What other questions were discussed at the club he organized? Moral, politics, natural philosophy. And where the question come from? And by the rules, it requires the people to bring the question to produce one or more questions. And those questions normally is about moral, nature, natural philosophy, and politics. To discuss this one, discuss this kind of question, and once a month, each member was required to read the article he had read, and he was pleased to read. His was the subject he pleased and shared together with a group. The next question, the next question. How did Benjamin make sure discussion were fruitful? In order make the discussion to be fruitful, people should not make the argument the very tense, very hard, very heavy argument. And they need to learn to be conversationalists too. They need to learn how to communicate with the other people. Now let's see how the book says. Okay, here. This, okay, here. The group need to learn. The group need learned to become better conversationalists too. Since the rule forbade disagreeable argument, they need to learn. They need to learn how to communicate with the other people. Okay, so let's go to the question number 5. The question number 5. How did he organize the first public library in Philadelphia? How did he organize the first public library in Philadelphia? Now, in his autobiography, he tells how he put this idea into action. Because they gathered the book together in a group, Junto, the club, and the result is very satisfactory. And in his autobiography, Benjamin Franklin tells how he put his idea into action because the idea is very satisfactory. Here is the detail. Reading the benefit of the Junto's little, realize the benefit of Junto's little collection. I suggested starting a public library. I made a necessary plan and rules and had a lawyer put them in proper written form. Each man who signed the agreement promised to pay 40 shillings immediately to purchase the first book and 10 shillings each year to buy more books. So, in order to do it, he put his idea into action, realized the benefit of the Junto's little collection. He suggested to start the public library. He made the necessary plan and had a lawyer to write the form, to create the form, to put them into proper written form. Each man who signed the agreement promised to pay 40 shillings immediately to purchase the first book, 40 shillings immediately to purchase the first book, and then 10 shilling each year to buy more books. Look, so he take the action, not talking, not just talk. He take the action, and he found out this very satisfactory result in his little book collection. And he use the the way he benefit the experience he learned from the Jiangzhou club, and he suggests to start the public library, and made the necessary plan, hired a lawyer, and then put a lawyer and put in a proper written form. And each man who signed the agreement to promise to pay 40 shillings to buy to buy the first book, and 10 shillings to buy more book each year. So the next question, why did he think reading was so important? Why did he think reading is so important? The library, in his autobiography, he he says, the library soon showed the usefulness and was copied by other towns. The library grows and reading become fashionable. In a few years, strangers observed that our people were better educated. Our people were better educated and had more knowledge than people of the same economic circumstance in other country. So the question, the same question again. Why did he think reading was so important? The library, he wrote in his autobiography, the library would soon show usefulness and was copied by other towns. The library grew and reading become fashionable. Libraries grow and become fashionable. In a few years, library stranger observed that our people were better educated and more knowledgeable and more knowledge than the people with the people of the same economic circumstance in other country. So this is the article I would like to share with you. Because we talk about the library, I find some material talked about the library, which is the history of the library. The history of the library. Do you know the history of the library? Come with me. Let's learn it together. Ready? Do you know the history of the library? The history of the library. Today we talk about what is the contribution Benjamin Franklin made for the library to the library in Philadelphia. And after the library, he worked on, he create, he contribute. The stranger noticed the people in Philadelphia had more knowledge. The people in Philadelphia were more educated. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you about more story about library, the history of library. Just have a little break. The history of the library. I'm going to get a little break. We have 1 hour and have a little break. Okay, now let's continue. Now let's continue. The history of library. The history of library. Ready? The history of library. The history of library began not recently. It began more than 5,000 years ago with the first attempt to organize written records. Early library appeared in Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, where clay tablets and papyrus documents were stored in temple and government building. This collection mainly contained business records and inventories and administrative documents, making the beginning of recorded history. So the library start now, which is actually is 5,000 years ago. One of the most famous ancient library was the library in Ash, Ashurbanipal in Nani in Nineveh, which houses over 30,000 clay tablets covering literature, religion, science, medicine, and astronomy. Ancient civilization developed early cataloging system, allow scholars to locate and organize information efficiently. During the classical periods, libraries became centers of learning and culture. The legendary Library of Alexandria in Egypt was the largest and the most influential library of the ancient world. attracting scholars from across the Mediterranean. In Greece and Rome, both public and private library flourished, making knowledge more accessible to educated citizens. Here, we stop here. Here, we talk about the most famous ancient library or the library Ashurbanipal in Nineveh, which houses over 30 notebook. It is a clay tablet covering literature, religion, science, medicine, and astronomy. Ancient civilization developed early cataloging system, allowing scholars to locate and organize information efficiently. During the classical period, library became centers of learning and culture. During the so so here during the classical period, library become center of learning and culture. The legend of library of Alexandria in Egypt was the largest and most influential library of the ancient world. So here, some of the library background, the legendary library of Alexandria in Egypt. So right now, there's very old and a famous library in Alexandria in Egypt was the largest and the most influential library of the ancient world, attracting scholars from cross Mediterranean. In Greece and Rome, both public and private library flourished, and because of this, the library in Greece and Rome, public library and private library flourished, making knowledge more accessible to educated citizens. So now in the largest and the most influential library of the ancient world. It is the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. Now let's continue. As empires rose and fell, library played crucial roles in preserving human knowledge. Byzantine Empire safeguarded many Greek and Roman texts. Well, let me see this one. Monastery. Monastery. Do you know the word? Monastery. Monastery. Monasteries. Monastery. Monastery. Okay. Monastery. Monastery is monastery is a building or building occupied by a community of monks living under religious vow. Monastery, a building or buildings occupied by a community of monks living under religious vows. Monastery, monastery, monastery. 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 Okay, monastery. Well, monasteries throughout Europe occupied manuscripts by hands, ensuring that classical works survived through the Middle Age. Okay, got it? Again, again, question. Can you tell me what happened as empire rose and fell? What is the library? How the library played a crucial role in preserving human knowledge? And give me example. Byzantine Empire safeguarded many Greek and Roman texts, while monasteries throughout Europe copies manuscripts by hand, ensuring that classical works survived through ensuring classical works survived through the Middle Aged. Got it? Now we go to Islam. The Islamic Golden Age brought another major advancement in library development. Inspired by the importance of learning and scholarship, Muslim, Mus, Muslim rulers established magnificent library and center of knowledge across cities such as Baghdad, Buhara, Shiraz, and Timbuktu. This library collected, translated, and preserved work from Greek, Persian, Indian, and Roman civilization, making them important hubs of science, philosophies, medicines, and literature. So, what happened for this library? My question. So, this library collected, translated, and preserved work from Greece, Persian, Indian, and Roman civilization, making them important hubs of philosophy, science, philosophy, medicine, and literature. Here, science, philosophy, medicine, science, philosophy, medicine, and literature. Now we come back to China. We are back to China. What happened for the library in China? Do you know? What happened in China, the library? What happened? The library. What happened in China? Do you know? Do you know that? Now let's continue. Think about it now. So what happened? In China, imp- in, in, imperial 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 imperial. Okay, what happened in China? A lot of thing was done by imperial. Let's see. Let's take a look. Imperial Imperial Library. Imperial Library expanded through innovation such as paper making and wood block printing, allowing book to be produced and distributed on a much larger scale. Because the new technology, because the new technology like such as paper making and wood block printing allow book to be produced and distributed on a much larger scale. So technology is very important. Now, over the time, library in, involved from collection of clay tablets and scrolls into institutes dedicated to education, research, and public access to information. The invention of printing dramatically increased the number of books available. While modern library embraced computer and digital technology beginning in the years of 1960. So the technology, when the technology start to be advantage, over time, library evolved the from the elections of clay tablets and cross into institutes dedicated to education, research, and public access to information. The information of printing dramatically increased the number of books available, while modern libraries embrace computer and digital technology beginning in the years of 1960. Advanced technology make the clay tablet and cross into institution dedicated to the research education and public access to information. Today, libraries serve not only as repositories of knowledge, but also as community centers, cultural institutions, and a digital gateway to information. Their long history reflects humans' enduring commitment to preserving, sharing, and expanding knowledge for future generations. So library's story we are sharing. It's very interesting. We know what do you learn from today's library enduring? Okay, what do you learn from today's the sharing the history of library? What did you learn? What did you learn from the sharing of library? What did you learn? And what we have learned The library is not recently, is 5,000 years ago, have already began. You got it? 5,000 years ago. And early library appear in Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, where clay tablets and papyrus document was stored in temple and government building. This collection mainly contained business record and inventories and administrative documents, making the beginning of recording history. Okay. The next one I would like to know, in one of the most famous ancient library was the library Ashurbanipal in Nineveh. Nineveh. The house around how many clay tablets cover? How many clay tablets and covered what content? So the answer is over 30, over 30 tablet and covered literature, religion, science, medicine, and astronomy. And this is ancient civilization developed early cataloging system, allowing scholars to locate and organize information efficiently. And during the classic periods, library became the center of learning and culture. And the largest and the most influential library of the ancient world. Do you know which library? It is the Library of Alexandria in Egypt. And it attracts scholars from across Mediterranean. In Greece and Rome, both public and private library flourished, making knowledge more accessible to educated citizens. Any question? Any question? Any other question for the library? Any other question for the library? Okay, let's move on. And also, we go over the Islamic Golden Age. Islamic Golden Age. And the Islamic Golden Age brought another major advancement in library development, inspired by the importance of learning and scholarship. Muslim rulers established magnificent library and a center of knowledge across cities such as Baghdad. This library collected, translated, and preserved work from Greece, Persian, on India and Roman civilization, making them more important hubs of science, philosophies, medicine, and, uh, and literature. And in China, today I show also with you, in China, Imperial Library expanded through innovations such as paper making and woodblock printing, allowing book to be produced and distributed much larger scale. Over time, libraries evolved from collections of clays, tablets, and scrolls into institutions dedicated to educations, research, and public access to information. The innovation of printing dramatically increased the number of books available, while modern library embraced computer and digital technology beginning in the 1960s. And today, libraries serve not only as a repository of knowledge, but also as community centers, cultural institutions, and a digital gateway to information. Their long history reflects humanity's enduring commitments to preserving, sharing, and expanding knowledge for future generation. Wow, so that's a really wonderful history of the civilization. The civilization was spread. One of the channel is from the library. I'm so glad I share with you the library. That's really amazing. It's really amazing information. And we know the library is not come from now. It's come from long time ago. And also we talk about the story, the history of China, because the new technology of the printing technology in China, the the printing technology help the book to print out more book and help to spread the book to the people in the country. The paper making and the wood block printing, allowing book to be produced and distributed on a much larger scale. Okay, let's see anything you want to know about library. Anything you want to know about library? There's a lot of story. Can you share your story about library? Can you share your story about library? Can you share your story about library? So here I want to share something more about China library in China. In 213 BC, during the reigns of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, most books were ordered destroyed. The Han Dynasty reserved his policy for replacement copy and created three imperial library. Liu Xin, a curator of the imperial library, was the first to establish a library classification. Class, a curator of the Imperial Library was the first to establish a library classification system and the first book notation system. At this time, the library catalog was written on scroll and stored in silk bag. Important new technological innovation include the use of paper and block printing. Wood block printing facilitated the large-scale reproduction of the classic Buddhist texts, which were avoidedly collected in many private libraries that flourished during the dynasty. The Ming Dynasty in 1407 founded Imperial Library. The Wenyuan Pavilion. It also sponsored the massive compilation of Yongle Encyclopedia, contain 11,000 volumes, include a copy of 7,000 books. It was soon destroyed, but a similar very large compilation appeared in 1725 and 1772. Here we talk about Qin Shi Huang destroyed the book. We also talk about the Yongle Encyclopedia, Yongle Dadian. It contained 11,000 volumes, including copy over 7,000 book. 7,000 book. So that's the book have a lot of history. You got it? So that's a book just now talk about in Qin Shi Huang, and Qin Shi Huang and in Ming Dynasty, in Qin Dynasty and the Ming Dynasty. And let's see anything about the book. Anything about the book? Anything about the book and the history about the book? So we also today we talk about Islamic library. It's also important things in the history of the library. And there's some prominent library throughout Islamic land. There are some famous library there. Asia. I have already shared with you Qin Dynasty, Qin Shi Huang destroyed the book. Also, I talk about Yongle Dadian, which is an encyclopedia. Any other thing? Do you know more history about the library in China? In China. Okay, so China is very plays a very critical role in the civilization in Asia. So let me talk a little bit about Asia civilization and the book and the library. The spread of religion and philosophy throughout the South and East Asia spurred the development of both writing and book. Chinese emperors were very supportive of this culture. Chinese printing and paper making, which predate Western develop, gave birth to a thriving book culture in East Asia. Several Asian religious and philosophical movements are re- responsible for stimulating learning, printing, and book collection. So this is some history about the Asia, about the book. Um, the religion stimulating learning, printing, and book collection, such as Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, Taoism, and Jainism. So here's the religion stimulate stimulate the book, the, stimulate learning, printing, and book collection. Religion and philosophical movement. Religion and philosophical movement stimulating learning, printing, and book collecting. Now, I mentioned about innovation in China. Now I'm going to talk about the printer, the technology of printing book. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the invention of paper. Invention of paper. If you know that, comment in the chat. Comment in the chat to see what's the knowledge in your head. What is the history? What is the history of the innovation of paper in China? Probably you will know. The invention of paper in China allows China to create in the early form of printing. Writing, the 16th century philosopher Confucius were originally inscribed on stone tablet, inscribed on the stone tablet. To achieve the early form of printing, the Chinese would push soft paper onto the stone. Try to understand this. To achieve this early form of printing, the Chinese would push the soft paper onto the stone. They inscribe, they at the very beginning printed on the paper. This is on the stone. Push the soft paper onto the stone. Apply ink to the back of the sheet. Apply ink, resulting in a black background with white letter. The Chinese also employed ink and carved wood block to produce printed material. Here, they print out the things on the paper and the stone. And also, they employ the inked, carved wood block to produce printed material. Okay, got it? One of the major Buddhist canon, the Tripitaka, was published in 5,000 volumes, used more than 130 individual wood blocks. In 11th century, movable type was developed in China. In Koreans established the first foundry for producing movable type. In spite of this development, wood block, let me see. Welcome to June. Let's see who's joining. Oh, the shoe. The shoe. I gotta sick a little bit. The shoe. My voice is not good. Work too hard. My voice. Can you hear my voice a little not good now? Um, I'm not sure why I always sick. Always sick. Let me drink some water. Um, so the book and the printing innovation. Right now we talk about China and other countries, the innovation. Since you just joined, I want to know quickly why you need to know this session. There's lots of knowledge inside it because the thing print on a book, inscribed on the stone, and right now it's on the internet, AI age, and the civilization is going to spread through the book. And the library start 5,000 years ago. Can you imagine at that time we when there's no book, when you want to study, when you were born, your dad, granddad, grandfather, mom, and grandmom, there's no book. When people want to learn, nothing to learn, only through mouth. Maybe there's no language at that time, nothing. So when we grow up, when we was born, when you was born, nothing how to learn. We don't know anything. We just like a fool. We only can eat the fruit and drink the milk. We only eat. We even don't know what is the milk called. We don't know the apple, how the apple called. That what kind of life it is. No civilization. So 5,000 years ago, there's a library. So the people collect the recording, like a philosophy, like the inventory, like some documentation together, and people can check in the library. And gradually, the library was spread by the technology, by famous people. And just now I talk a lot. You can go back to my uh, uh, previous recording, but I still can give you the summary to save your time. To save your time. So, and once we have a library, once we have a language, and right now I share the book with you. And whatever I know now, you know. And then the message was transferred from my mouth, from my mind to you, from my book to you, and to the world. And the technology, information, the technology was spread to some people which don't know. The knowledge was noticed by you. So that's, I give you a quick things. And also today, because you joined a little late, and today I talk about Franklin. Let me finish this one and then I can give you something so that you know what's going on. Let's continue, okay? My voice is not good. My voice, I got something wrong. I'm glad to see you. 5,000 years, yes. Oh, yeah, just to let you know, my voice is not good now. Always get sick, not sure why. I need to do exercise. Okay, that's why my voice, I didn't talk loudly. Do you remember last lesson, last session? I talked the Franklin threw the kite into the air and shout, go. I cannot shout now. My voice is not good now. I cannot shout. Okay, let me continue this. Um, Let me see where I am. Let's start here. In spite of this development, woodblock printing remained in the norm of China. Korean Japan, each ruler in China, compiled its own official written archives. Every emperor decide which philosophical texts, which amount of history, which rule of faith, and what poetry and lecture literature would be permitted in the empire. Oftentimes, chronicle their own version of previous rulers' history. Here, by the book, they write the history of the previous dynasty. Okay, and Confucian and Buddhists writing uh, writings that were brought to Korea, Japan. So the message was transferred from one country to the other, including religion, through the book. Are directly responsible for the continued development of the book publishing and the library building in East Asia. So here I want to know, so book is not, was the book spread not just because of the technology. Just now I mentioned technology. That's not the only one reason. Also, there's the religion and the philosophy movement and religion. So when the religion transfer from one country to the other, a lot of time definitely is by people transfer, right? So by the people philosophy, the transfer from religion and the philosophy movement. So they by people and they by mouth and buy the book too. So that is very exciting things. The library can spread the knowledge, and the religion can spread the knowledge, and also technology, philosophy movement. When something happen, philosophy movement, they're going to write the article. They're going to describe what they think. They put their idea into the documentation and then tell the people the message and talk about their thought, their idea, and their philosophy. And the religion is also transfer from the documentation, from the book, from the paper. Okay. Also, today we talk about the European Middle Age. In the early Middle Age, monastery library developed, such as the important one at the Abbey of Monte Cassino in Italy. Books were usually chained to the shelves, reflecting the fact of manuscripts, which were created via labor-intensive process by hand copying. When technology is not strong enough, they write the book, they write it. So here there's lots of things. I will not give too much detail, but this so handwriting, okay, intensive labor work. So after finishing copying, a scribe often added a course to the final page and a warning of eternal damnation or prolonged physical suffering if the book was stolen. Despite this protectiveness, many libraries loan book if provided with security deposit. Lending was a mean by which book could copy and spread. So you can lend the book. Lend the book. Lots of work, yes. Yeah, I read your message. Lot of work, yes. Even I talk to you, there's a lot of work. My voice is not good now. So, so they can lend the book, borrow and lend the book. So the book production was relegated most exclusively to the large monasteries. Lots of people, it's hard to, there's not many library, but the library almost exclusively in a larger monasteries, where both monk and lay brothers were copyists and book binders. Artists were employed to illuminate page with elaborate design, capital letters, and picture. Okay, so it's in a large monasteries. Oh, so we talk a little about Renaissance. Renaissance. From 15th century in central and northern Italy, libraries of humanists and their enlightened patron provide a nucleus around which an academy of scholars congregate in each Italian city of consequence. So that's in Italian. Library of humanists and their enlightened patrons provide a nucleus around which an academy of scholars congregate in each Italian city of consequence. So there's enlightened patron. Is it patron or patron? Patron or patron? I need to. Oh, let me. Maybe I check the different patrons. So they need money. Give me 1 second. Let me check the pronunciation. Patron or patron? Patron. 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 So they need a lot of patron. 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 I try to get the pronunciation. Patron. Patron. Uh, yeah. Patron. The enlightened page and academy of consequence. So a lot of people get together. So the library of humanists and enlightened. So yes. So that's the Renaissance period. This trend soon spread outside Italian. For example, Louis III Palatine, founded by uh, Bibliotheca. Yeah, so this word is a difficult word. Is funded. Some this need money. Funded. It's funded. Okay, funded by this one. Okay. Now, Enlightenment era library. The 17th and 18th century include what is known as the golden age of library. You know, just now we talk about the library. It's very old. It's a hand manual. It's write by hand. Some is, on the stone. Some is on the paper. The emperor, they collect the people together and write the book and put all the thing in the book and only read by certain people. And in 17th and 18th century, um, included what is known as the golden age of library. During this, some of the more important library were founded in Europe. More library. This more technology and more library. Okay. Just give you some summary. Now, colonial British America. We go to colonial British America. Uh, here, here the show. When I read this, it seems like I am go through the history of the whole civilization. The library from the probably you miss that part from the Egypt, the library, okay, and 5,000 years ago's library on the stone, on the paper, innovation. And then we go to the different emperor, different dynasty. And then we go to the Middle Age library. And then we go to the Enlightenment and old Enlightenment era library. And we have Renaissance and the Middle Age. Now we are in the colonial British America. So the light is like the history. It's a history of the civilization, the history of the world. British America's first institute library was founded by donation from Puritan minister John Harvard. Harvard left his collection of 400 volumes and his estate to a small cemetery now known as Harvard University, located in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I think this one you know. Let me see, what did you read? Oh, long history, yes. When I read this, to be honest, some of the things I cannot remember. But when we do this, it's kind of the civilization. It makes us feel we live in it make me feel we are in the information age. Lots of book and also it's accessible. Library make the educated, I talk about the old story, old library, makes the educated citizen can easily accessed. Educated citizen easily to access the book. But now, doesn't matter you are educated or not. Drink some water. Doesn't matter you are educated or not. It doesn't matter you have knowledge or not. Right now, the book, the information on the internet, everybody can reach. However, there are some login things maybe for certain people can access. As long as you pay money, you still can access. But that's another topic about technology. Um, so this probably you know, this library is a Harvard University, and the donate is from the donation, funded by the donation from the Puritan minister John Harvard, and the contribution he left his collections of his 400 volume and his estate to a small seminary known as Harvard University, located in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The collection of the book helped the seminary find credibility, and the library grow to the largest in British America with 5,000 volumes in 1764. He donate, let me see, 400. And after that, in 1764 is 5,000. There's more book. That's really, really amazing. Donation and make the library, there's more book in library. The university can rebuild the library and the collection after the fire. The library benefited from loyalists fleeing Massachusetts after American Revolution War in 1783. And many of the books left behind were donated to collection. The Harvard library system now consists several physical locations and has a combination of over 20 millions 20 millions item in the collection. 20 millions. Now we go to our subject. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin. This day we talk about Benjamin Franklin. When we talk about the history of library, we should not forget Benjamin Franklin. We should not forget Benjamin Franklin. Okay. Benjamin Franklin plays a critical role in library. Um, let me see. Um, Here I'm going to quickly give you a little time. Can you recall what happened? What the contribution Franklin made for the library? What is the contribution Franklin made in the library? Um, in today's sharing is the education of Benjamin Franklin. He make the great contribution for the library in Philadelphia. In his in his club, he gathered the people. Most of the people are tradesmen. Are tradesmen. Let me see what you write. Oh, electricity. Yes, yes, electricity. He uh he organized a club. The club no name is gentle, in Latin word which is to join. And in the club, he gathered the people together. At the very beginning, there's not many people, not many members, and everybody bring a few books in Gentle. Gentle in Latin, in English means to join. He bring the people together and share the book, and the people can discuss and read the book, and they have the everybody should bring one or a few topic and let the club member to discuss the topic, the question they raise, the topic or question they produced normally is about politics, philosophy, nature, some nature philosophy, something like that. Politics too, and literature, I think too. And this question and the people produce a question, let the people discuss. And when people discuss it, they tell the group in advance the topic. They tell them, and the in order to prevent fighting, argument, and some people they would like to win. In order to prevent that, every member need to learn how to be the conversationalist in order not to make the argument for the victory. If you want to be the victory, it's going to be um it's going to be fight it's going to be a fighting on the meeting, on the discussion. So everybody learn how to make the communication, and the result is very fruitful, is very usefulness. And Franklin used this experience because the experience is very satisfactory. He used this idea and take this idea into the action. In his autobiography, he wrote it. He take the action and build up the city library. At that time, in New York, Philadelphia, there's I think there's no library or only few. Uh, ye- to be honest, there's almost no library. And Franklin used this idea and gather people together, and people join. You need to pay 40 shilling, 40 shillings, 40 shilling to join and buy the book. And if you pay another 10 shillings, you have a year, and then to buy more book. And then they organize the library. And in the library, he also asked the lawyer to create the form, to create an official form, and make the thing more formal. And if you lost the book, you need to pay double value of the book. And everything is well organized. And the result is so good, and the other town start to copy it. The start town copied this experience, the library. And even the stranger can notice that. The people in Philadelphia, stranger noticed, people in Philadelphia have more knowledge. People in Philadelphia, in this city, are more educated. So, like when we are together, and if we do this, I mean, if we don't give up and continue do something like this, we are going to be more knowledgeable, and also we are going to be more friendly. We become very good friend. Let's talk right now. I want to talk two words: fast and slow. Let's say you ask people to give you a summary is fast. Can you remember after 1 year? Okay, this is fast. The other one, we talking, I drink water, we chatting, we make friend. We talk slowly, look like we have fun. We talk slowly, look like we make a entertainment. We look like we didn't study at all. We do it slowly like this, and the other one give you lots of information. That's fast, and this is slow. But can you imagine which one can remember well? My answer, in my opinion, is slow. Sometimes slow is fast because you remember. Sometimes fast is slow. But just now we talk about philosophy. Philosophy is like a combination of something. Fast is not fast. Slow is not slow. Sometimes fast is fast. It's true. It's fast. Sometimes slow. Yes, slow is slow. But when we discuss, because just now I talked about the book, book was spread by different way. Innovation, new technology, religion, and a philosophy movement. People write a book, talk about their idea. Okay, so right now, because we talk about philosophy, I'm going to talk about philosophy. Is it fast, fast, or is it slow? Is it slow, like a tongue twister? Again, fast sometimes is fast, slow is slow. However, sometimes fast is slow, slow is fast. Let's say you make a friend quickly, is it fast or slow? You might don't remember the friend forever. But if we spend time together, it will look like do some entertainment. We get inspired, we learn the things. And eventually, there's a small time and make probably we will be the friend forever. Maybe we are friend for a long time. You quickly make a friend. You quickly make a friend, 10 friend, 100 friend. Eventually, you even have no time to reply the comment. Even you have no time to reply. Even you don't, sometimes when we get a lot of comment, you even don't answer. No time. Okay. So that's why this is a good opportunity. We know each other, we exchange message, and we learn the it's not the library, we learn the civilization. Okay, so Benjamin, okay, back to Benjamin. Benjamin, when he do the library, the successful case, and the other city copied the library in their own city. Is the people in Philadelphia, either and the stranger noted, are more educated and are easily to get educated, and they are educated, more educated, have more contribution for the library. So that's why when I talk about Benjamin's life, and then we talk about the library, because when we talk about library, library. That's why I mentioned that. Let's see what you write. Oh, slow is fast and never give up. Good relationship, beautiful. Yes, electricity. Yes. Yes, sometimes I know some people, I didn't talk a lot, I do quick. After well, forget. Not because not polite, because too fast and forget easily. So let's go back to Benjamin. Let's see Benjamin's story. Benjamin led the founding of the first American subscription library. Pay the 40 shilling. Pay the 40 shillings to buy the first book. Pay another 10 shillings to buy more book. What is the system is? That is a subscription system. Very smart. Again, so if we do quick, Benjamin Franklin probably will forget. But when we do slow, and then I remember 40 shilling. Franklin formed a club, mutual improvement, calling themselves the gentle, Latin word to join, which meant a council or a combination of individuals organized for a special purpose. It's a group, it's a club, it's a membership club. Because the men in the club had a steady income, most people are businessmen, are tradesmen. They could afford to be part of this club and to purchase the book. Only some had enough money to consider a library. Together, they shared what they all have. They shared together each other. And the show, you are nice too. Sometimes you type something, I read. I read. You share something, and probably I learn. So right now we have a small club about this subject. We shared the something about life, about information age, about successful, about inspiration and passion. And also we talk about how to be successful. When I see your word, I learn something. I learn something. And that's why this is a mutual improvement. And we remember each other. If today you want to learn, you listen to 10 video, each video 10 hour. Probably it is good, it's good, but it's easy to forget. But right now we learn something we don't want to give up from Benjamin Franklin. Do you remember he shouted, go, let the, and William, his son, ran with the string together, linked together with a kite as fast as they can in a dark and a stormy day. Benjamin was shocked. However, Benjamin, luckily, fortunately, he was not hurt because that electricity is very weak. When we learn slowly, we remember. And not only remember the story, I remember what is the detail in the story. In his hand, he holds the key to the door, and because the electricity traveled down through the string, and because the electricity is weak, so he still was not hurt. We remember this. I remember this. Right now, I didn't read anything. This is my book. And also, I remember let me see what, I didn't read anything. I remember. Still right. Always fast. Okay. Slow. Um, and after we talk about the city museum, now there's a national library, national Museum, city library had their origins in the Royal Library. The first national library had or some other uh, place, library. As a library, the city library, golden age, and also we talk about the two like the emperor state. So it's one by the first library was devised mathematician John D. Who is 51 more is presented of England with a vision of reforms for the and the library. This one proposes the National Museum. So here's another in England, Sir Richard Bentley's proposal for building a royal library published in 1694 stimulated. So there's another proposal. Proposal. Now, after proposal level, origin of libraries. National Library was founded in 1753 as the British Museum. This new institute was the first of a new kind of museum. No belongs to neither church nor king. Nothing. You remember a long time ago, it is in the church because of the religion. The book is in the church. Library now is not a church, not the king. Freely, the aim to let everything lays in the will of physician and naturalist Sir Han Sloans, who gathered an enviable collection of curiosity over his life, which he bequeathed. Let me see how to pronounce this word. To the nation for 20 pounds. Let me see. Bequeath. 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 Bequeathed. 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 Which he bequeathed to the nation for 20 pounds. His collection includes some 40,000 printed book and 7,000 manuscript, as well as print and drawing. The British Museum Act 1753 also incorporated and Harleian Library. These were joined in 1753 by the monarch. So a library start to be popular. Start to be monarchs. Monarchs start to be popular. So these were joined in Royal Library as assembled by various British monarchs. So this is the National Museum history, and there are some other stories like in France. In France, the library history. And there's more story expansion in newly formed United States. James Madison first proposed the institution a congressional library in 1783, the Library of Congress. So that's a long history. And I will now give you a detail. And the modern public library, Canada, United Kingdom, United Kingdom, United Kingdom. There's lots of story when they were built and what happened. It's a long history. It's a long Germany here, Germany history, Russia. So I gave you a quick review, so that you know roughly what happened. Too much detail, hard to remember, cannot remember. But we get an idea about when. In the newly formed U.S., James Madison first proposed the institution of Congressional Library in 1783. The Library of Congress was established on 24 April 1800 when President John Adams signed an act of Congress providing for the transfer of the seat of government from Philadelphia to the new capital city of Washington. Now we go to the Russian. In the Imperial Public Library of Russia was established of 1795. Okay. The United States is 1783, so this is 1795. By Catherine the Great, whose private collection included the domestic library of Voltaire, and this is people's name. This is a library's name, which she had purchased from their hire. Okay. So it's a Russian library. Short message about German. Germany. Although Germany was the first united as a state in 1871, the first national museum was set up in the context of German Revolution of 1848. Okay, Lake Museum, Canada. Okay, United Kingdom. So, trees, museum history. United States, the early decade after the formation of the United States, there were growing number of community subscription library, along with the Mercantile and SM library. Oh, there's a library. Um, this the library was intended for my lawyer working in various industry subscription library. We talk about it already. So at the end, so this library, the identity of government and religious morality relied heavily on access to information to read. So this promotes the life much wider. Okay, so the small things library. Oh, so segregation library surveys for white non-color patron, sometimes barring black individual from entering. So there's a segregation library. African American library and literacy uh, societies. So it's a different library. So it's a really history. It's a really a long history. State Library Commission. So there's more things, disaster recovery, and in 20th century, this modern library, and the 21st century, the start of modern library. So now I'm going to talk a little thing about 2020 COVID-19. See how this COVID-19 a lot of country library history, there's lots of detail. Now I want to share with you COVID-19. COVID-19. In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic further changed how library operated. Library around the world were faced with a really hard choice as to which service to offer and which service to shut down for limited time. Most library report to resorted to online only resources such as ebook, lending, and other digital service. This decision depends on both government large as to how they want to proceed. Like this time, will delay completion through book lending and return was suspected. Book return in some areas or uh, quarantine before being handled by to be personnel be processed. Some library implement various ticketing system to limit the number of people in library or ask people to book visit in advance. Other offers con- contactless pickup option. Library have since resumed normal operation, though many have continued to offer some of their COVID service, like online programming and cab, after recognizing a need for. So that's a that's a COVID pandemic. It's a challenge not only for us, but also challenge for the library. So when I read this, the not too long for this live stream, it go over from 5,000 years ago to now, and from Europe to Africa to Asia, China, Korean, Japan, and also to Cambridge and Harvard University, the library, and from Middle Age to Renaissance, and to modern museum, and to the origin of the Royal Library, from proposal phase to the final Royal Library, and to pandemic periods since from 2020. It's a long, it's a long history, and the civilization is spread by the book, by the mouse, by the monetaries, by church, temple, by monk, and also by paper, by stone, by library. And now some of the library has a post online. You can, some of the library, they provide online service. That's amazing story. That's amazing story. It's amazing story. So, any other questions? Do you like read book? Do you like read book? Do you like reading book? Do you like reading book? Yes. I still want to recite the sentence. When we talk about Benjamin Franklin, that sentence I gave you, now I share with you again. Book held the key. Book held the key to. Book held the key to living. Book held the key to living a happy and a successful life. Book held the key. Book held the key. Book held the key to living a happy. Book held the key to live a happy and successful life. And then we go over the history of the library and some of the history of the book. So, any questions? Any questions? So, um, if you have not um, subscribe, don't forget subscribe, comment, and like. Also share with you which city are you watching from and what is your time now. And what is the time now? What is the time, in your place, in your country now? That's a wonderful experience, but I still share with book and my favorite poem. I read I read it before for you, and also I sing the song. I composed the song for this famous poem. And today I'm going to read the third verse. The third verse. Till all the sea gone dry, my dear. Till all the sea gone dry, melt the sun. Till all the sea gone dry, oh, I will love thee still, my dear. Oh, I thee, oh, I will love thee still, my well the well the sun, well the suns of well the suns of life shall run, shall run. Till all the sea gone dry, my dear, gone dry, my dear, with the sun. Till all gone dry, I will shall run. Well the suns will love thee still, my dear. Well the suns of life shall run. Heat till all the sea till dear and the rock and the rock of life well the will the uh, the first one and don't forget to and like subscribe subscribe comment and before we let me see the time this live stream let me recite let me recite the let me recite drink some water that the red rose. Oh my love, as a fair melody that sweet though my body only lasts in love, and I will love thee still, my dear, to all the sea gone dry. So I recite the first two. Now I am going to talk the third one. To all the sea gone dry, my dear, and the rock melt with the sun. And I will love thee and fear thee and fear thee will my only love and fear thee will a well. My dear, though it were 10 beautiful things. So we talk about the library of 5,000 years ago. Uh, the biggest library in the Asian world by Asian period in mid also age, middle age, right now, in America, and we talked about the library in China from experience. Favorite book is amazing. I read the Any other questions? You know, questions. Have not subscribed. Um, subscribe, share, let's comment, and if you like, and that see you next time. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.